Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to show you a crash course on how to use Greenshift's interaction layers. Let's talk about the core concept of Greenshift's interaction layers. And that is, for each trigger, there is an action. In this example, our trigger will be onClick, and the action is to hide element. Let's go ahead and view this page on the front end and see what we mean. Let's go ahead and click on this image, and it disappears. The element is hidden. So our trigger was the click, and the action is hide element. Now if I clicked on this one, this green text also disappears. So let's see how this works. Okay, before we move any further, let's talk about Greenshift's blocks. So Greenshift has Greenshift blocks, which are these ones with blue icons. And if you scroll down, you will find GreenLight elements, and they're basically the same thing. However, you can see, well, the first difference is that the icons are black for the GreenLight ones, and they're blue for the normal Greenshift ones. The major difference that we are concerned with is that GreenLight is more developer or code oriented. There's more options for web developers as opposed to Greenshift, where it's more oriented towards just your ordinary users. So what we're concerned with is in interaction layers, you'll find that under the GreenLight elements, it's just on this one column, and interaction layers is right there. Whereas for the Greenshift ones, you'd have to head over to the Advanced tab, close animation, and find your interaction layers over here. So let's go ahead and set up our interaction layers here. So we want this image to click, and once we click it, it's going to hide. Let's close General. Let's head over to Interaction Layers, click on New Interaction Layer, and it's going to ask us to select a trigger. There's this drop-down box over here, and there's a bunch to choose from, but for now, let's just choose onClick, and it's going to prompt us with an action, and our action is going to be hide element. And there's a few other buttons here, such as add condition. We can add another action or another interaction layer, but that's a topic for another time. Let's go ahead and click on this heading over here, close animation, head over to interaction layers, add a new interaction layer, and the same thing, onClick, we want to hide element. And now let's take a look at some of these other buttons here. So there's this time rewind button. It will give us an option for delay for execution, so just a delay. If I set that to 1000 milliseconds at a second, whatever we do for click, it's going to delay it by a second, and then it's going to disappear. Now this next button over here is enable custom selector, and you can see that under the action here, so this is the trigger, this is the action, both of them have custom selectors. Now it's important to keep in mind that if we click on this, this makes it target whatever our custom trigger selector is. Now we'll talk about this more at a later time, but it's important to know that if we enable this custom selector on our trigger, it will in effect make the other thing the trigger. So if I were to select this image as this custom trigger selector, if I clicked on this red text, nothing would happen, but if I clicked on this, then the element would hide. So let's close that, and if we selected this one, the logic for this is we ask the question, what element do we want to hide? And we can go ahead and click on this map pin icon. It'll give us the CSS selector. We can go through our different blocks here, and we have our available selectors. So we can click on this heading. We can click on Use Current Selector. And now the logic for this is once we click, and it's blank, once we click this red text, it's going to hide this green text after a second or 1000 milliseconds. And the final one that we want to talk about is this power button, and that is enable an editor. If we turn this on, we can preview the actions, the triggers and actions on our editor, but it's always best practice to just leave this disabled, save it, and then take a look at it on the front end, because sometimes the editor can be buggy or it just won't act right. So let's go ahead and refresh our live site, and let's take a look at how it works. We click on our image, it disappears, okay? And if we click on this green text, nothing happens. But if we click on this red text, after 1 second, the green text disappears. Let's answer the question, how many triggers and actions can I use on my Greenshift interaction layers? And the simple answer is unlimited. Limitless, and as many as you want. Let's take a look at a simple practical example by using these just one of these three images. So let's click on this, open up our settings here under block, head over to advanced, and head down to interaction layers. Let's click on add new interaction layer, and it's going to prompt us for a trigger. Let's do on click. Okay, well, we selected it, and it's going to prompt us for an action. Let's do animation, and it's going to give us some options, and here we're going to do rotate, and we'll just put 5, just an arbitrary number, and let's add a new interaction layer. Okay, another trigger. On mouse leave, we want to animate it once more, okay, and we're just going to choose, let's say, scale, and then 1, okay, so that's when we leave the image. And then let's add another interaction layer, and that's going to be on exit intent. Our action's going to be lightbox opening, and this is just the URL for this image. So let's go ahead and save this, and take note that we have 3 different triggers here and 3 different actions. So let's click on view page and see how this looks like. So we have our 3 images here. Let's go ahead and click on this. It's going to rotate as expected. We're going to leave, okay, and it scales, and we're going to want to have an exit intent, and it opens up our pop-up here. So there you go. We have 3 different interaction layers, 3 different triggers, and 3 different actions. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use as many as you want, and you can layer them, again, because they're layers, as high or as many as you want. Okay, so let's talk about using custom selectors. By default, in Greenshift, our interactions, which are our triggers and actions, stay on a block. So if in our earlier example, our actions only stayed on this, only this one rotated and skewed and scaled. What if we wanted to affect other blocks? That's when we use custom selectors. Let's click on this one. Okay, we will add an interaction layer. Our trigger will be on click, and the same thing, animation, just a simple visual one for you. Rotate by 5. Okay, we'll save it, and we'll take a look at what happens. We don't have any custom selectors on it yet, but just to verify functionality, if we clicked on these other images, but clicked on this one, only this one rotates. What if we use our custom selectors? And that's what this little map pin is for, okay, custom selector. And we can click on this other map pin, and it opens up our selector chooser, and we can look for it within our layout here, our page, and you can see the individual blocks, and this has its own selector. We'll click on use current selector, click on save, and let's see the effect. Let's reload our site. We'll click on this, and you can see that this doesn't move, but this one moves. And we can add this functionality, this custom selector, for these other ones as well. But if we wanted to select multiple, that's when we'll talk about classes. Let's now talk about using class to apply interactions, triggers and actions, to multiple elements within your page or your site. So let's click on this one and we'll give it a class, image box, and we'll use local. Okay, this now has a class, and if we were to open up our interaction layers, we can enable, we can check out our custom selector here, right? And when we opened up, if we were to open up our selector builder thing here, we can see that our image box now has its own class. Okay, now we'll delete this just for the sake of this video, and we'll apply this class to our other image boxes over here, and let's do the same thing. So without the interaction layers, without the custom selector and the classes, this action, which will be, again, on click and animation, options, which is rotate by 5, will apply only to this one. Okay, we'll save that. We'll look at it on our live site. And you can see that if we clicked on these other ones, nothing happens. And if we clicked on this one, only this one rotates. Alternatively, we can select one of these other ones. But what if we wanted all of them to rotate in the same way? That's real simple. We'll click on this Enable Custom Selector. We'll click on this pin icon here to find it in the selector builder. Alternatively, we can just type dot image dash box, because everything here will be our image box. But if we open this, we can find it here, and you'll see image box right there. We'll use this, and you can see it's the same. We'll click on save. We'll reload our site, and now you can see all of them act that way. But again, our trigger is this one. So there's using class to apply an interaction, which is a trigger in action, to multiple elements. In this example, we're going to be talking about dynamic placeholders and basic math operations. What we will be doing is creating a simple currency converter from USD to Euro. Let's go ahead and add a heading over here, currency converter, and let's go ahead and add a couple columns here. Let's put a heading here and a heading here. We'll call this one USD, and then we'll call this one Euro. Let's go ahead and add our input fields. Input. Okay, input element. We'll put one down here under USD, and we'll put one over here under Euro. And let's set up the parameters here. The input will be number, and then this one will be text, but it will be read-only. That way our users won't be able to mess with this. And let's go ahead and add some classes. Okay, we'll name this one USD input, and then this one will be Euro output. Okay, just local classes. And let's add a button down the middle. Let's put it in a container, and we'll call it our, center that, convert. And we can customize this with whatever color we want, but that's not relevant for this. And we'll call this one something real simple. Convert button, and make that local. Okay, now let's go ahead and set up our interaction layers. Let's click on convert here, or button advanced, convert button here, advanced, head down to interaction layers, add new interaction layer. Our trigger will be on click. It will be set attribute value, and then the value of the attribute will be the value of, okay, we're going to click on the map pin icon there, selector, and we're going to get our attribute from our US dollar input. Let's go ahead and click on current selector. You don't have to use these map icons. If you know what your class is, you just have to type it in there and make sure you put the period or the dot before it, because that's how it recognizes whatever classes are. And let's go ahead and click on add math operations. We'll select times, well, the star sign here, and we can just go ahead and put 0.91. That's our current exchange rate, let's say. And finally, let's, on this first action here, set attribute, let's click on enable custom selector, and it gives us this. It's basically asking us where we want our data to be calculated into, and we'll target our euro output. So let's review our logic right here. This interaction layer is applied to this convert button because we didn't select any of these things. There's no delay either. And this action, the trigger, and the action will be set attribute of what? The attribute of euro output. And what attribute of euro output is that? It's going to be value. Where are we going to get our value from? Simple. It's going to be the value from US dollar input multiplied by 0.91. Let's go ahead and click on save and take a look at this on our live site and see if this actually works. So we have our currency converter here, US dollars to euros. Let's put 34 USD, convert, and that is 30.94 euros. How about 57 US dollars? That is actually 51.87 euros. In this example, we're going to be making a video play and pause when we hover on and off of it. So let's go ahead and add a video. Oops. And we'll go ahead and just use the plain Bloxy one. We'll find it on our media library, and don't worry, this isn't me or any of us here at Websites Assets. This is just a piece of stock footage. Let's go ahead and take a look at our block options here on advanced. Okay, let's close animation, head over to interaction layers, add a new interaction layer. Our trigger will be on mouse enter. It will be, no, or is it audio video actions, play, and then we will have a new interaction layer on mouse leave. It will be audio video actions, pause. Let's go ahead and save that, okay, and take a look at how it looks like on our live site. So it's a really simple example. When we're going to enter with our mouse, the video will play. When our mouse leaves the block or element, the video will pause. So let's try it here. Okay, it's playing, and when we leave, it pauses. So that's a real simple one. Play and pause on hover on the element. In this example, we're going to make a to-do list, a simple to-do list, using the copy element action and set HTML content action. So let's go ahead and add a header here, and we'll call it to-do list. Okay, this will just be static. And let's have a UL list, and let's have a button. We'll name this add task. Okay, and then we can style this however we want. Okay, so for this, we'll call this to do list container, and then we'll call this task item, make it a local one, and then we'll make this task button. Okay, and oh right, let's add an input, and we'll put this over here, and then we'll put this down. Oh, we want to put the whole list underneath the bottom here. And then this one we're going to call task input. Okay, so let's click on our button here, go to advanced interaction layers, and the first one is going to be on click. Let's say copy element. Which one do we want to copy? And that's going to be task item. Okay, we're going to copy this blank one here, and we're going to add it to our container, to our list. Okay, we'll use that. Next, we want to set HTML content of, okay, wait. Before that, let's choose a value from our input. And we want to target the element that we copied. So let's click on this. We will look for our list and add a layer. Okay. We're going to put child selector, and we want task item, and we want nth last of type, so the last one on the list. Or nth of type 1. Okay, that should work. And we'll leave that empty. We'll use this. And let's go ahead and click on publish. Okay, with that saved, let's click on view page to see our work. And you can see our input here is a bit wonky, but we can fix that with paddings and margins. So let's try out the functionality. Do the dishes, hang the laundry. Oh, I accidentally double clicked there. And how about walk the dog? And how about take out the garbage? Okay, and it's a very effective way to use copy element and set HTML content to make a to-do list using our Blocksy blocks. Okay, in this example, we're going to make custom tabs using interaction layers. We're going to be using conditions and actions and triggers and all that. Let's start by adding a container. And within this container, let's add another container. Is that something we can do? Here and here. And then inside this one, we'll put text. This one will have text as well. And then here, we can drag and drop this to go into here. Oops. We want to select this box container to be in here, and then this box container to be in here. Oops. Or better there to start. Okay, so now we have these two here. We'll call this one description, and then this other we will call specifications. Now we will give them classes. So tab header, let's make that a local class, and then let's name this one description tab header. Okay, and then this one we will also have as a tab header, and then this one we will call specifications tab header. Okay, and then we'll add that as a local class. Next, we are going to go under border, and we're going to put a bottom border on these, and we're going to put it as 2, and we'll leave it as transparent. Okay, this will help us later down the line if we wanted to check it out in our console. So again, for this one, border, bottom border 2, and then we'll set that as transparent. Okay, now let's add our containers here, 1 and 2, and then let's name this as, we'll put this as text, and we'll put some lipsum in these. Okay, and this one can just be specifications. So color blue, okay, and then we'll give these box containers some classes. We'll name these tab content, and then this one will be our description tab content description. Okay, and then this one will also be tab content, but it will be specifications tab content. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and add our interaction layers. Let's start with our description over here. Let's go up to our box container. Oh, well, that's fine. These text ones, let's go over to interaction layers and add interaction layer. We'll select our trigger to on click, to set CSS property, display block, and then let's choose, by clicking on here, our second container, description tab content. Okay. Next, let's add the next action to be set CSS property, display none, onto our specifications tab content, right, to hide it. And let's add a condition. Okay, class does not include hidden. Let's add our next action, which is going to be another set CSS property to, I gotta copy paste this, border bottom color to blue, and let's target that to our which one is it? Okay, our description tab header, and we'll use that as our selector. Okay, and let's add our next action, which is to hide our bottom border color on the specifications one if it is active. Set CSS property, bottom border color, transparent, and we will select this from here, and we will go and look for it, specifications tab header, and use that as a selector, and we'll add a condition, which is class, if it says active tab on it. And next, let's add our next action, which is to set class of the description tab header to be active tab. And let's add our next action, which is to remove class active tab from our specifications tab header if it has the class active tab. Okay, we should be good with that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's go ahead and move on to the specifications tab and add our interaction layers and actions here. So again, we will select on click. Let's select our action, set CSS property, and it should be the same for everything, and then the opposite for the following three, I believe. Display block, and we want to display our specifications tab content. Our next action will be to set CSS property, display none on our description tab content. Okay, to hide it when this is open. And let's add a condition, class, if it does not include, if it isn't hidden. And our third one will be to set CSS property, bottom border color blue, to our specifications tab header. Okay, let's add our next action, which is to set the bottom border color to transparent of our description tab header if it has the class active header. Okay, so if this is active, we want to hide it. We want to make our bottom border or underline to be gone. Right? We want to hide it by making it transparent. Let's add our next action, and that is to add to add a class active tab to our specifications tab header. Okay, and let's remove the class active tab from our description tab header if it is active. All right, and then if it has the class includes active tab. Okay, let's publish this and save it and see how it looks like on the website. View page. Very nice. However, you can see that we have both of these appear, and let's go back to edit page to fix that right up. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this to active tab. And then this one, let's set this to hidden. Oh. As a local class. Oh. Okay. And now let's save it and publish it and take a look at the site now. And you can, one more time. You can see that we have our specifications hidden here. And if we clicked on specifications, it shows only the specifications. So there's how you make custom tabs using interaction layers in Greenshift. Greenshift's interaction layers. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Show this kind of video to other nerds like us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.